What happened? So, Hare Krishna, welcome everyone for yet another class on Srila Prabhupada. So, let's begin our class with prayers. I offer my respects to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna. O spiritual master, I offer my respects to you, your servant of your Guru Saraswati Goswami. You're kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya and delivering the Western countries. Panchatattva mantra. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण मंत्र हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and we are discussing about Srila Prabhupada, the beautiful book about his life, his struggles, and how came into form. So, beginning today, so we have seen that one temple of first temple of New York has already been established, and now Prabhupada has sent his disciples to another place, and that place is San Francisco in America. So Prabhupada didn't want uh, just a single temple. So he wanted temple everywhere in the entire world. There should be Krishna's name should, be spread and people should sing Krishna's name in each and every corner. That was also the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so he wanted that. So he is now sending his disciples. So there are certain disciples who are now, they have taken initiation from Prabhupada. So now there is a couple who have got married, and Prabhupada performed their marriage, and their names are Mukunda and Janaki. So Prabhupada sends them to San Francisco, and you know he said, you go and find out a center. So now, like how this new first center was established in New York, so Prabhupada sends this couple. So after a couple of months, when both husband and wife were in San Francisco and they were trying to find out the place. So after a couple of months, Prabhupada receives a letter that they have rented a small place and now they are busy converting it into a temple. So like how we see a small, store front in New York, like a shop, which was converted in a temple. So similarly, they have found a place in San Francisco, which they are going to be, making it into a temple. So this couple, they said that we are going to organize one concert, rock concert. Well, you know what rock concert is? That lot of, it's like basically English music, and lot of people would be dancing, and concert is going to happen on stage. So Prabhupada didn't say anything, but his disciples were very surprised that, Prabhupada is a religious person, that how can, it is not a good place for Prabhupada to go. So they were very attached to Prabhupada, and, they thought that Prabhupada now is settled in New York and he is going to be, permanently there with him, because they had become very, very attached to Prabhupada. But, Prabhupada, how could, stay at one place? So, but Prabhupada was very confident, he was very determined that, he did not belong to one place. Prabhupada said that he belonged to Krishna. Okay, anyways, he was a sannyasi. So sannyasis generally don't stay at one place. So Prabhupada said that I belong to Krishna, I don't belong to one place. So Prabhupada was very determined and his aim was to spread Krishna consciousness. And he showed that how I am detached, I am not attached to anybody. So he's opened a center, Krishna consciousness has started, disciples have started. So now he wants to expand the movement now. So he was eager to travel and expand the chanting of Hare Krishna. So finally, plane reservations are made and devotees begin packing Prabhupada's, all this manuscript that Prabhupada was working on, Bhagavatam, and constantly used to, wake up at 1 or 2 o'clock and he would work. So they started packing his stuff, and they also had collected some money from for a plane ticket. In fact, many of these disciples they were donating their salaries to Prabhupada to spread Krishna conscious movement because Prabhupada was a sannyasi. He didn't have his own money. So they were donating their own salaries to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada explained that he would only be gone for a few weeks. And when he is gone, everything should continue. You should not stop the temple activities or going to, you remember how Prabhupada had gone to the park and did his kirtan? And so many people got attracted. So Prabhupada said, don't stop any activity. I'm only going for opening a new center. So please continue whatever I taught you. So nothing should stop. So Prabhupada was, while Prabhupada left, he was in his mind, he was thinking that he had started this Krishna conscious movement and he had nobody, he was all alone. But Krishna's mercy, see, Krishna sends few sincere boys and girls and they joined him. And then Prabhupada thought it is just the beginning. It is just the beginning, and I have to do so much of work. This is why he has left Vrindavan. In fact, initially he was not even sure whether he can stay in America for more than 2 months. But now he can see that results are happening, things are happening by Krishna's mercy. So Prabhupada was reflecting back that it had been a difficult year. No one from India was interested in helping him. So although this is what their Guru Maharaj wanted, this is what Lord Chaitanya wanted. So as I said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that, this name of Krishna should be heard in every town and village. So Prabhupada had full faith. He knew that Mahaprabhu's mercy, his Guru Maharaj's mercy, their blessings will come and everything will happen. So Prabhupada never lost hope. In all this struggle, he had no money, he was an old man, new place, and people were so materialistic. People were always uh, busy in enjoying their lives. But Prabhupada was very confident on Krishna. Prabhupada was very confident on his Guru Maharaj that by their mercy, everything will happen. So when Prabhupada finally reaches San Francisco airport, so he sees almost 50 hippies were waiting for him at the airport. So anybody remembers? I had shared some pictures of hippies. You want, I can show you again. Hippies are basically people who lead a life where they are not settled in one place and they keep moving around. They'll be dressed in a very different way. They'll be taking drugs and singing, dancing. So a very different set of people. So basically, Prabhupada had started this movement with hippies. So I will again, if you want, I can share. I had shared one kirtan where you saw how Prabhupada was sitting in the park and people were singing and dancing. So, something like this, you can see. In the picture, that's how hippies would look. Yeah, so they're basically very much attached to just like
Mataji, sorry. My landlord is calling me. You'll just have to give me 1 minute.
sure, sure. Okay.
Yes, sorry, Mataji, we can cut.
Done? Okay. So we were discussing that how Prabhupada has reached San Francisco, and almost 50 hippies were waiting at the airport to receive him. So they had not even seen Prabhupada. Imagine. So Mukunda just told everyone to chant Hare Krishna. They had not even met Prabhupada. They were just aware. So this is all a new group of people. Okay. So we understand that Prabhupada has left New York. He's left one place. Now he's in America only. He's moved to another new place. So here there is a new group of people. And so when Prabhupada comes through the gate, uh, so Mukunda suggested, let's all chant Hare Krishna. And because this is going to please Prabhupada. So they all actually had heard Prabhupada's chanting in the park in New York. They had got the news that yes, Prabhupada went to some park and he had done big kirtan there. And they'd also seen the article in the newspaper, that so many people got in the park and Swamiji was chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So they all were aware of it. They had all practiced also. And some of them had brought flowers for Prabhupada. So when Prabhupada came down from the plane and he had heard the chanting, even before he entered the terminal, he got down from the plane and you could hear the chanting. So he began to smile. He was happy and he was very surprised. And finally, when he meets these people, he can recognize only a few people because all are new only. So almost 50 people were there to receive him and they were chanting Hare Krishna. And without even speaking to Prabhupada, they were already convinced of Prabhupada. They were already developed affection for Prabhupada. So all bowed down to Swamiji and just feeling very confident that yes, this is what they're supposed to do. So they all formed a crowd and on each side of the passage, and they wanted Prabhupada to pass. So Prabhupada started smiling. He started, throwing his affection, and he started picking up flowers from all of them. And Prabhupada, very graciously he accepted everything. And he proceeded to the terminal, and crowd of young people were walking beside him and chanting. So when Prabhupada came, to the terminal, his eyes were fixed, and he was so happily looking at all the new people, and he was giving them, he was telling them to raise your hand and chant loudly, chant loudly. And when they saw that Prabhupada was encouraging them to chant, then even when they were standing at their port, they all began to dance and they all started to chant. So then Prabhupada came out of the terminal and then he was escorted in a car. And Prabhupada was very happy because he had come to another big Western city, all because of the mercy of his Guru and all because of mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And as I mentioned earlier, that uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had predicted that this Krishna consciousness would spread all over the world. And Prabhupada's God brothers, I had explained God brothers means uh, like somebody who's also the disciple of the same guru. Like, I have one guru, and same so many people have taken diksha from the same guru. Okay, so that person becomes my brother, God brother. So they thought, okay, Mahaprabhu has made this prediction that Krishna will be in every town, but they did not believe that statement. But Prabhupada had deep faith in that statement of Lord Chaitanya. And he had deep faith in the instruction of his guru. So Prabhupada actually was able to do so much in such a short time, not because just because he wanted to travel to America and he had a nice time. No, he just wanted to go because he wanted to obey the order of his guru. He wanted to please Krishna. He wanted to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the temple Mukunda and his friends had obtained was a very small, again, like a small shop only, and it had a display window in the street. It was in the like a main road, and on the sign on the on the window it was written Shri Shri Radha Krishna Temple. So Mukunda, as his friends said, had rented this place, and also they had rented a three-room apartment for Prabhupada. So that Prabhupada would come, he can't stay in that shop, right? So he can come and live in that small apartment in the next building. Okay, third floor, there was a place on the third floor apartment, and they had taken rent for both the places. So as usual, Prabhupada, you would get up from the bed early morning, his routine started, and sometimes 1 o'clock, sometimes 2 o'clock, and he would not need any alarm clock to raise him. Like nowadays, if you want to get up early morning, suppose you want to go to some out of your city, you want to catch a train, you want to catch a flight, you would put an alarm clock, right? But Prabhupada would get up without any alarm. Nobody would come and wake him up. Okay, Prabhupada, good morning, wake up, wake up. No, he would wake up on his own. And any time, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and that time he found that, it was so quiet at night. And he would just get up, he would wrap around his chadar on his shoulders. And there was a trunk, like, small, like a suitcase, a metallic suitcase. So Prabhupada would, have a trunk and put a cloth on that. And that was like his the table, small table. So he will sit and he will start working on translation of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavata. So I thought I'll just share some picture for you. So this is when when things were much established, and but this is like I just gave you an example that how Prabhupada would have a trunk and he would spread a cloth and he would use it as a table. So very, very simple. He will not many hours. He will hardly sleep. He would sleep for maybe 3 4 hours, because always his mind was focused on I have to finish this translation work. So then he would work for some time and then he would chant the Hare Krishna mantra on his beads, and then he would get ready and go down to the temple and begin the activities. So basically his translation work will happen at night, or early morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whenever Prabhupada used to get up, because the whole day he would be in temple and he would be talking, he would be convincing people, he would try to make more disciples. So during the day, he did not find time to write on his translations. During the day, he would simply try to make people Krishna conscious and preach to more and more people, give interviews to the reporters, and so many things he would do and train people, because they had no idea. In the Western world, people had no idea about God, right? So at night only he had that peaceful time to sit and work on that translation. So then further it says that publishing books in America was very difficult, more difficult than India. Although in India he was alone, but he could manage publishing at least 3 volumes in 3 years. But here in America, he started having many followers, but many followers means so much of responsibility, because they were not trained. They didn't know anything. Like imagine somebody who's a drug addict. He has left his drug addict, but he has no clue how to lead a normal life. And none of his followers they did not know typing, editing, and how to go about things. Yet, despite knowing all these things, Prabhupada had actually started working again on his Bhagavad Gita and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So these books he was started working on. So putting on his reading glasses, Prabhupada would open his books and turned his dictating machine. So he would have like a speaker with him because he was writing and he was also recording on the machines, so that when he is not there, his disciple can listen to these recordings. So even today we have a huge library of Prabhupada's recordings in his own voice. So and he will, we always refer to his recordings. So he basically he would study these scriptures and then he would also record them. So he was following what had become a very important routine in his life, rising early in the morning, writing the messages of Krishna consciousness. So this was is one of the most important services, because when he's not there, his books are there. So imagine we all are sitting together and we are trying to understand the philosophy. So had Prabhupada not got up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, how we would have understood, how we would have got Gita, how we would have got all the books that he has written, right? So he spent all that important time when all of us are sleeping nicely in our bedroom. Prabhupada, at those days, he used to tirelessly sit, wake up at night and work and translate books. See, try to understand that these books are all in Sanskrit. So then how could we have understood? So Prabhupada basically simplified these books for us. So now Prabhupada is ready. Next day he has to go for this mantra rock dance, and it will have those loud guitars and drums and lights, and he will have to face all those hippies which will be under drugs. So he was just wondering, how can I deliver the pure message of God at such a place where people will be so ignorant of God, where people would be so busy in dancing and singing and in drinking. How can I convey the message of Lord there? Anyways, he has full faith in God and he leaves it in the hands of Krishna, because he knew this, if he goes there, it's going to attract a lot of young people, and the temple has to grow, the new temple has to grow. So when he reached there were almost 4,000 people were there. So if he felt that if all these 4,000 people, if I can engage him in hearing and chanting name of God, then what is the harm? So although the place was a place where no saintly person will go to such a place, but as a preacher, Prabhupada would go anywhere and spread Krishna consciousness, because his aim was one: I want to spread Krishna consciousness. So he knew that whenever somebody hears the names of Krishna anywhere, in any condition, he can be saved. Saved from what? Saved from again coming into animal life. Because once if you start taking Krishna's name, if you start chanting, then definitely you will get a human body in next birth. But somehow these hippies that were there in that rock concert, they had some inclination towards God, but they had no direction. There was nobody to guide them. They were confused, but they were looking, they were fine. They wanted somebody to hold their hand and take them towards God. There was no guidance. They were in ignorance. So when Prabhupada comes there, he actually shows them the right path, and that is what they were looking for. So almost, although most of the audience was high on drugs, but there was calm, there was peace there, because all of them was looking for spiritual experience. So Prabhupada reaches the stage, and suddenly his devotees had arranged that, when Prabhupada reaches the stage, at the background, suddenly instead of lights, all the pictures of Krishna starts flashing, all the pastimes of how Krishna eating butter, Krishna with Arjun, Krishna killing the demon, Krishna playing flute. So when Prabhupada reached the stage, the entire crowd got up and they started cheering and clapping, you know, and he climbed the stage and then he seated himself. There was a cushion arranged for him, and Prabhupada sat, he took his place. Now, people didn't know what they were chanting, but to see that many people chanting, even although they were under drugs, but they were repeating what Prabhupada was speaking. Prabhupada was chanting Hare Krishna and they were repeating, and so that made Prabhupada very happy. So, for almost an hour, Prabhupada was chanting, and people were jumping and crying and shouting because they were simply loving it. So then Prabhupada, invited everybody. He said, "You continue the program, but I have done what I wanted to." So he left from the stage and requested that all those people who are here, that you please visit the temple. And he did not want to stay longer because I have done my work, and this is not a place where a sadhu should stay. So he got up and he moves out from there. So that was the experience of this rock concert, which Prabhupada had, and there also he didn't say anything. He simply went and started chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and Prabhupada's chanting itself inspired so many people to become devotees. So next day, Prabhupada was giving lecture and how he explained that uh, what a big responsibility Guru has. When Guru takes the disciple, he removes all his sins, but but it is a big responsibility of the Guru on the Guru also, because if the disciple keeps on committing bad things, keeps on doing sin, then it is Guru who becomes responsible. Okay, so but then Prabhupada just wanted to give mercy to everybody. He knew people here are very sinful. He knew that it will be very difficult, to for these people to stick to Krishna consciousness, to follow rules and regulation, and become pure, because the whole life they had no training. They were simply enjoying their life, smoking, drinking, sex. So for Prabhupada, mission was so difficult. I mean, they did not even know that there is something called illicit sex. They did not even know that meat eating was wrong. So although they were ready to chant Hare Krishna, but Prabhupada was not sure how much can they, continue doing it, because they were so used to all those bad things, eating non-vegetarian food, having sex relationship with a lot of people, drinking, smoking. Anyways, Prabhupada continued his work towards Krishna as a service to his guru. And when he returned, he started teaching how to cook food and distribute prasadam. So he would say that this is your only activity. So in the morning, they would cook and they would feed for almost 200 people. In that small place, 200 people would get free food. So this lunch program, which Prabhupada started, it became a big hit. Everybody, because they were very hungry. They had no jobs. People had no jobs. Even when they were rich, even if people were rich, still they were like under ignorance. They were under, that. drinking and eating and all the time. So food was not going in their stomach. So they were really hungry. And then because they were not selling from the temple, Prabhupada was not selling food. They were just giving it away. It was free food. So this condition in America at that time, the youth was very restless. And there was a lot of unrest during that time among the youth of the country. So some of them would come, take prasad and go away, but some of them would actually become devotees. So Prabhupada had an amazing ability through his devotion. I mean, there was some kind of magic in him that just by looking at him, just by his chanting, people would leave drugs. People would become his disciples. So that because he was a pure devotee of the Lord, he had that power to make people as convert people into pure. So one time, one girl came and she was arguing that this chant you were saying this chanting is very nice, but what is it going to do with the world? Will it change the world? So Prabhupada didn't say anything. He was very quiet. He said, "Are you in this world? Do you like this chanting?" So she said, "Yes." She said, "If you like it, then others will also like it. So you start chanting." So Prabhupada, you see, will not argue much. He will simply chant anybody to just do the chanting. And when people will come and they would argue with him that are you a guru? Are you a guru? So Prabhupada was so humble. He would say, I'm nobody's guru. I'm everybody's servant. Imagine a person at that level will say something like this. He would say, I am nobody's guru. I am everybody's servant. Person at that level saying something like that. So it wasn't easy to handle, difficult people. He had got many difficult people who would come and challenge him. So all the time, he was getting tested as if some exam is going. So it was a constant test of his power, of his understanding. But anybody who would come and challenge him, Prabhupada would never become angry. He would just make them calm. Like how a small baby is crying, and when the mother comes and picks up the baby will suddenly stop crying. So similarly, Prabhupada had some charisma, some charm to his words. He would just, whenever somebody would come in touch with him, even if they were arguing, Prabhupada would just make them quiet. And they will change. They will become changed person. So once, a good drug addict came and he started challenging. And he said, I am God. So Prabhupada, when somebody would say this, no, I am God, then Prabhupada would become angry. Because for him, there's nobody above Krishna. So he would say, what do you mean if you are God? Prabhupada would ask him. So if you are God, that means you know everything? Because God means he knows everything. Do you have the qualities of God? God is present everywhere. Are you present everywhere? So then he will give a big list of the qualities which God has. He will give the names of all the avatar which God has. So Prabhupada will give so many arguments that that person would eventually become quiet. And he would prove that person wrong. Because Prabhupada had that superior knowledge. But Prabhupada would never get defeated. And another interesting thing which Prabhupada was used to doing was his morning walks. And slowly his disciples realized that Prabhupada, is very used to going for morning walks. And he would not just go to admire nature around him or for fitness. No, he would not do that. He would go out and he would comment how Krishna is present everywhere. And he would, he sees everything from the angle of Krishna consciousness. So, once he had gone for a morning walk and he saw some old people had come and they were walking with their dogs. So Prabhupada would say, see, in this old age, people should uh, try to develop Krishna consciousness. But if they're spending their life with cat and dog instead of serving dog, then it is very unfortunate because this is the time to take up God consciousness because you're become old and you don't know when you're going to die. So like this, Prabhupada would give many insights into when he would go for a morning walk. So I'll just share some pictures of Prabhupada's morning walks with his disciples. Yeah, so this morning walk thing was very, lot of conversations have happened in morning walks, which are recorded, and very important preaching Prabhupada would do even in a morning walk. So he would not waste any time. So one day, what happened? One of his, female devotee, she came to him, and her name was Malti. So Malti, hurriedly comes into Prabhupada's apartment, and she's carrying a very small shopping bag, and she takes out something from the shopping bag and keeps him in front of Prabhupada. And she asks, "What is this, Prabhupada?" So Prabhupada looks at that small 3-inch wooden doll, and Prabhupada becomes so excited. He's become so happy because what she brings in front of Prabhupada is a small idol of Lord Jagannath. So Prabhupada becomes so happy. He says, "Where did you find Prabhupada? Where did you find Jagannath? And were there other two people also along with him?" So she said, "Yes, there are two. There were two more with him." Then he said, "Okay, you run to the store and get them back, or get them here." So this Malti, she runs along with her husband, and she goes to that store and picks up Jagannath. Sorry, she picks up Balram and Subhadra also. So imagine in a country like America, San Francisco, they find small deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. So isn't it so surprising that how Lord reaches there? So this is all the beautiful work of Krishna. So then Prabhupada explains them the story of Jagannath, and he asks, "Is there any wood sculptor? Anybody who knows how to make deities from wood?" So this Malti, her husband was a wood sculptor. His name was Sham Sundar. So Sham Sundar was a wood sculptor, and he said, "Yes, Prabhupada, I am a wood sculptor." So Prabhupada said, "Okay, see, this is the small deities. Now you make 3 feet of deities from similar ones of three deities." So after a few months, the deities got ready. We had big Balram, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and Prabhupada explained that devotees would soon be able to worship in Jagannath in the temple. He said that worshipping Radha Krishna means we need very high standard of worship, which devotees cannot do because they are not so trained. But Lord Jagannath is very merciful. So we can worship him in a very simple way. So even if you're not very advanced, you can worship Lord Jagannath. Soon, Prabhupada did this installation ceremony of Jagannath Baldev, and he announced that whosoever visiting the temple, you must bring some offering for Lord Jagannath. So this is a lesson for all of us. Whenever we visit the temple, we must carry some offering for the Lord. So it can be some fruit, some flowers, so anything. Whenever we visit the temple, we should not go empty-handed. Okay, so here. we have first Lord Jagannath in India, in America, and that in San Francisco, were installed. So Prabhupada left San Francisco, and he realized that there were so many boys and girls. They are unhappy. They have so much money and education, but they don't have real happiness. But now he felt now through Krishna consciousness, they would find their real happiness. So Prabhupada returns to New York, and now he started becoming very tired because so much of traveling and continuously he was preaching. So everyone was seeing that he was getting tired and easily uh, getting sick also. But Prabhupada was not stoppable because his desire and passion was to serve his guru, and to as soon as possible he wanted to make maximum people Krishna conscious. So once Prabhupada felt very seriously ill, and he had actually told his disciples, if I fall sick, please don't take me to any hospital. Just you sit next to me and chant Hare Krishna. But this time Prabhupada felt very sick, and his disciples had no choice because they wanted Prabhupada to slow down in his preaching. And but Prabhupada did not listen to anybody. But this time he was really suffering from heart problem. So for 2 months, Prabhupada was in the hospital, and devotees were constantly praying in San Francisco, New York, both the branches. They were constantly praying. And after 2 months, Prabhupada recovered. And Prabhupada wanted to go to San Francisco because you remember Jagannath has come now. So Prabhupada, they were organizing a Rath Yatra for Jagannath. So Prabhupada was very excited, and he wanted to go there to attend the Rath Yatra. Because this was going to be the first American Rath Yatra, and he was sure that it's going to please his Guru Maharaj. So I'll just share that Rath Yatra picture with you. So basically, Prabhupada had many, many ideas for festivals. He would say that if he has money and manpower, then every day we can have a festival. So Krishna consciousness is every day there is a festival. So now Prabhupada actually had the desire that he wanted to go to India and wanted to show his disciples about Vrindavan. And he also started feeling that he might never return back to America. But he said, uh, you know, I am an old man. I may die at any moment, but you must please carry on this Krishna consciousness. You should be humble and tolerant. So this is the qualities which Prabhupada would always preach. You should have enthusiasm, and you should have patience. You should, you should be humble. You should be tolerant. So these are like some of the qualities which Prabhupada would always emphasize, right? So we are here, and in the next class, we are going to see that how Prabhupada goes to India, and he takes a few of his disciples go with him, and now he is going to spread this Krishna conscious movement, which could not be done in India earlier because nobody listened to him in India. Nobody wanted to listen to his philosophy. So now Prabhupada is fully confident that he's started this movement in America. And now he wanted to go. He was also not well, actually. His health was not well, was not doing good. And he wanted to have the climate of India because America was too cold for him. So for some time, he wanted to go to India and, you know, gain back his health and also show to the world that how America has taken up Krishna consciousness. So he wanted to show that to the world also, and he was hopeful that yes, Krishna consciousness would spread in India also. He was quite hopeful now. So I'll just share this picture, and we have some 8-10 minutes. We can take some questions if there are any questions. Huh? I'll just share this picture. So I'll share again. Can you see Jagannath at the back? Where Prabhupada is standing at the back side, can you see big eyes of Jagannath? So this is San Francisco Rath Yatra festival actually. Just have a look again, I'll share. At the back, you can see Jagannath big eyes. Have a look, close look. So this was America's first Rath Yatra, which happened in San Francisco. And then slowly it spread to other countries also. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the class. I'm really enjoying talking about Prabhupada, and I hope you all are also enjoying watching the classes. I'm very sorry I have not been able to send the recordings. Probably from next week onwards, I will start sending all the recordings to you. I was busy with some exam, so I'm fine now. From Monday onwards, probably I'll start sending. So we can take few questions, not many. We can start.
Hare Krishna. Mataji in US, Krishna temples, how many places are there in total?
Sorry.
How many Krishna temples are there total in America, Mataji?
In America, I'll find out, Saurav. I haven't calculated. When Prabhupada was there, 108 were already done throughout the world. He wanted to establish 108, but now there are much more. There are much more. I'll find out and I'll let you how many total temples are there. In America, I'll just find out.
14.
14 is
For
it?
14 January, Mataji, there is some rice ceremony, something eaten, some Draupadi, something. There is a, Pandav
14 generally is usually Sakrant, no?
rice, Sankranti, yeah, Makar Sankranti.
Makar
They were
Sankranti.
looking for a, Krishna was looking for a rice. Krishna was very hungry, and from the Akshay Patra, they found something. He found one grain of rice. Is that what Makar Sankranti is, Mataji?
I don't. We are not celebrating any festival, but I will read and let you know about this pastime. I'm not aware of this pastime about Krishna.
No, no. So Draupadi, I think when five of the Pandavas were there
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
forest,
I
Krishna was.
understood that. I understood that. Only thing is whether that pastime happened during this day or not. That is something I'm not. I know that pastime of uh, you know everybody's stomach got full by when Draupadi had that blessing.
Ah, 14th Mataji, what is the reason? What is the,
Yeah, yeah.
why is
I
it
don't know
so
whether
holy and all?
this pastime happened on 14th or not, but generally it is considered to be the new year. Uh, in ISKCON, we are not doing anything on 14th.
Any story about the 14th Mataji? Why is it special or something like that?
Yeah, I will share that story. Maybe the link I can share because right now I cannot disturb this Prabhupada, the story in between. Let it get over. Maybe I can share the link.
Some other story, Mataji, later maybe, whenever.
Yeah. Uma Mataji is never satisfied with stories. So this is Such nice stories. I'm telling you about Prabhupada. She wants more stories. Where do I get so many stories? Right now we are doing
Hare
stories
Krishna
only.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So somebody wanted to see Mukunda and Janaki's picture. I was just
America
searching
Mataji,
in.
how many places if you could let?
Yeah, that also I'll let you know. So somebody chatted, sent a chat on show Mukunda and Janaki photo. I'll just share from the net. I'll share. Maybe we'll finish the question. Hemant has a question, no?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Uma Mataji, the question she had asked, 14 January, Tamil Nadu also celebrates Pongal that time.
Yeah.
So it's a South thing, right, Mataji? Since you are there, maybe do you know?
No, actually, 14 January is celebrated throughout India. In Chennai, in South, it is celebrated as Pongal. In North, it is celebrated as Makar Sankranti. So, in similar way, Assam, Punjab, and different places, this day is very auspicious.
My own question was, Mataji,
Yeah.
these are very nice stories. Went to his cousin's home and watching YouTube on TV, was watching live, and my cousin was happy. My baby was crying. The baby was crying, and the baby stopped crying, Mataji, then.
Oh, what was the
And
program?
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Live chanting was happening, I think.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Some ISKCON live, I think YouTube
Oh,
recording was
this is
happening.
so nice. So nice.
The baby also wasn't crying and became very quiet.
Yeah.
And yeah, that happened. And one thing about the Ekadasi I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm having a little difficulty seeing his hands, Mataji. He's sitting in a very dark place, no?
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Yeah. So while sleeping, Mataji, do you think about Krishna?
Yeah, when I go to bed, yes, I do think of Krishna and I say thanks for everything that he's given me.
So sleep time. So Mataji, I'm sorry. He was saying that during sleep, do you think of Krishna? So I'm like, I'm very sorry, but during sleep, how would you think? Your mind is off. Do you dream?
Yeah,
So what's
we
the
dream.
question?
No,
Dream.
I have never dreamt. Krishna has not blessed me with his dreams. I'm not so pure as yet, maybe.
So, ma'am, Mataji, during my day, during working hours and all of that, I can think of Krishna, at the back of my head. I mean, have him in my thoughts. But during sleep, how do I do that?
Sleep is not in your control. When we are sleeping, we are like dead. We can't control that. That time, our subtle body is active. Our subconscious or subtle body is active.
So, Mataji, as it said, no, that during death, if you're thinking of Krishna, we go to Krishna, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
similarly, when we are sleeping, as we are saying, it's same as death. And if we die, but if you're not thinking of Krishna and we die, then
See,
we go somewhere
when
else.
we are sleeping, we are not in control of. We cannot think. The only thing is you do before you go to bed, you think of Krishna. Rest is in Krishna's hand. Krishna has seen how sincerely you've been chanting and following other rules. So he will keep that also in mind. So even if so, only thing we that is in our control is to think of him before you actually go to sleep. When you are lying on the bed, just that time you think of Krishna. After you sleep, you are not in control. So we can take some other question. Are we done, Hemant?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just told him remember the light. Mataji, I'll just take one question because I also have to go out.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You can just tell them.
I'm sorry, I will say Hemant long question, so time loss. I'm very
Yeah,
sorry. Hands
yeah,
one,
but
two,
some
three. Very sorry. I time one last Meena question. Is that one, two, three? Impossible. Next time. Sorry. I have to go. Yeah.
please keep your
Hare
questions
Krishna.
short actually.
Um, Prabhupada. The cooking that he used to do, morning food,
Yeah,
200 people, you said
yeah,
eight, 200
yeah.
people. So he had no money, Mataji, right?
Yeah.
How did we do all these cooking for 200 people
So
and all
I
of
just
that?
said no, the people had started donating, no. His disciples had, but they were earning, they were working, and they were giving him money. So I'll just quickly share the picture of
Hare
Mukunda
Krishna,
and
Mataji.
Janaki. Somebody wanted to see the picture of Mukunda and Janaki. I know who was requesting. So I'll just share and then we will close the meeting. So these two questions probably we'll have to take it next time. And I've say in every class, anybody who can type, you can type and send me your question. Any your mother tongue also, if you know how to type, you can type and I will Google translate it. So you can send me your question even in any language that you want to do. On my personal number, you can send me your question. Any language, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati. So you can send me your question in that and I will Google Translate. Okay? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, and we will see you next week. And here's a picture of Mukunda and Janaki. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Rasrati.